What's up, everybody? King of Fomo here, coming at you with your daily crypto update. Today we're going to be talking about Polygon ID, the zero-knowledge identity for Web3, and why this is a game changer for the crypto space overall. We talked a little bit about Ethereum in my last video, and we talked about how Ethereum is very likely going to take the #1 spot in the crypto space. And I believe that once that does happen, you're going to have a lot of other opportunities, a lot of other coins being looked at and taken seriously. This includes coins like Polygon, which is it's paving the path. It's setting a really, really good foundation for being a top cryptocurrency long term. And I'm talking like when we get to the multi-trillion-dollar market cap, you're going to have multiple coins in the multi-trillion-dollar market cap. Polygon is definitely a contender to be one of them, especially like top 10. So we're going to talk about the reasons why, and particularly we will be talking about, like I said, this zero knowledge proof or zero knowledge Polygon ID, how this is a big deal. Oftentimes, I talked about how crypto is going to be taken seriously and become mainstream for the general population, for the mainstream media, and for companies. And that is a pretty big deal. So people might often say, like, what does that mean? I don't understand how is crypto going to be mainstream? Like, people aren't just going to be using Bitcoin to buy things. That's really an archaic example of what mainstream crypto is. Yeah, you can use crypto to transact things, but this is a good example seeing how much further it can go. So we're going to be talking about this right now. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Polygon ID. What is this thing? So you can actually download this app right now and semi-test it out, but there really isn't that much to do with it, to be honest. So maybe wait for a couple of things to be developed before you go and download it. But essentially what this is it's a way for you to prove who you are without giving out all that information. So what does that mean? I know you still might be a little bit confused, but oftentimes if you sign up for a company or if you type in information and send it off to a company in the Web 2 kind of way, you're leaving yourself up to a lot of vulnerabilities. So what do I mean by that? I'm certain that if you've been on the internet, if you've been looking at the news in the past year or even in the past couple of months, you've heard about multiple data breaches. So what is a data breach? It's when hackers or nefarious characters are able to hack into a database of a company and find information about every single person that has typed in a form in that company. Now, sometimes these data breaches can be pretty brutal where they get your credit card information, but sometimes they can still be, pretty bad where they just get information about you. They know your birthday, they know your address, they know where you live, they know where you work, and these nefarious characters can use that information and sell it to other bad actors who are just going to spam you with more advertisements, or they're just going to use you as a target for scams and just other really, really bad stuff. And sometimes this can go on in a level where it's sort of legal. We've had problems like this in the past with Facebook or /Meta, where they're taking a lot of your data and they're just selling it to people for their own profit. So what zero knowledge ID does, or what Polygon ID does, is it's a way for you to be able to give companies the information that they're requesting without them holding it on their systems. Now that's a big deal. It's a big deal for pretty much everyone except bad actors. It's a big deal for people because people do not want to have their data breached. People don't want everyone in the world or bad actors to know where they live, where they work, what their birthday is, etc., etc. And it's also bad for companies. Companies do not want to be in the light of, we just are the company that suffered a massive data breach, and people are going to lose confidence in that company altogether. So it's bad for everyone for data breaches, and something like Polygon ID, everyone is interested in doing this and using this in some sort of way. So this is one of the ways that I believe mainstream adoption is going to go for it. I think that lots and lots of people are going to be using things like the Polygon ID system. So we'll talk more about it in a second, but let me just give you an example of kind of where I see crypto right now and how crypto is going to be in the future. I'll give you sort of an analogy, and maybe, I might be dating myself a little bit, but I'm certain that a lot of you guys remember AOL or America Online. If you're too young to remember it, it's basically the beginning of the blow up of the internet. When the internet first kind of really became mainstream, a few people knew about it, but you knew like maybe 1 or 2 people, maybe 5 people that had access to the internet. They had AOL. And I think that that's where we're at with crypto right now. You have a lot of, like, most people on Earth right now, they know generally what cryptocurrency is. They might know what Bitcoin is. But in reality, they probably have at least 1 or 2 or maybe 5 friends that are deep into crypto. And then after that, after AOL, a few years later, the internet blew up. There's lots of other service providers. And now it's very difficult to find anyone on the planet without access to the internet, whether it's from their job, their cell phone, or their computer at home. Now, I think that that's where we're going to go with crypto in the future. Right now, we're in the AOL phase where, a few people might own it, a few people might really understand it and understand the future. But with things like Polygon ID, I think that is the future. I think that's where we're going to be in the future, where everyone is like, you're going to have a very rare occurrence where somebody doesn't have a Polygon ID or somebody doesn't have some sort of blockchain ID. So let's go forward and explain a little bit more about how this thing works. So like I said, basically, you're going to be able to use Polygon ID to make a claim, a verifiable claim. So you can see here in this little picture, you have something as simple as your birthday. So birthdays are one of the biggest things that are part of data breaches. Once your data is breached, all these people know your birthday and they can target you for a lot of different stuff. So with Polygon ID, if you have your birthday inside, locked in that Polygon ID, and let's just say you're signing up for a company, you can use your Polygon ID profile, use the QR code, scan it in that company, and then they'll immediately know who you are, they'll know your age, and none of that information is going to be stored on any of their servers. So there can never be a data breach with zero knowledge proof, because again, there's zero knowledge being spread out there. The only thing it's doing is it's verifying the information that it needs to verify. So you scan the QR code, the company knows that you're 18 years or older, or whatever it's looking for. It will say, check, this person meets the standards. And it is as simple as that. The company's happy because they got the data that they needed to get, and you're happy because you were able to share your data without being subject to a future data breach. That is a pretty huge deal. Now, like I said, there's not really any companies using this right now, but you better believe there are tons of people interested in developing in this right now. And in fact, you can look at, I think it's Narb Trading. This is another guy that's really into Polygon. He just made a video about another video about the Polygon team, talking about there's a lot of people, a lot of big, huge companies interested in using Polygon ID. Now, it might not even be Polygon ID, but it's going to be something, some sort of blockchain ID, because this is a problem that has existed for a while, this data breach problem, and it has to be fixed. And this is, in my opinion, this is the way to fix that particular problem. So you can believe that this is going to affect coins like Polygon. When Polygon is, if it is the mainstream way of people using their identification, then of course you can see skyrocketing prices for Polygon. This is where you want to look at crypto for what it's doing. And Polygon is doing a whole lot. I mean, here it is. You guys can go to the website yourself. It's right here. You can click on Polygon ID and test it out for yourself. But I mean, I'm really excited about Polygon because they're doing so much. And they're continuously releasing stuff and getting partnerships. That is something that is super rare with crypto. I mean, crypto, there's thousands, tens and thousands, hundreds of thousands of coins that say they're going to be doing so much. But then do they really actually end up doing any of it? very rarely. Polygon has continuously said what they're doing, putting out what they're doing, giving updates. So in my opinion, this is what I mean before by setting the foundation. They are setting the foundation for extreme success for what they're doing. And there's a lot, like there's so much more we can talk about. We talked about zero knowledge ID. There's zero knowledge EVM. For more things like that where you're not just giving out so much data and you have some privacy. So that is everything for this. Hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of an introduction about where you can see crypto in the future. Once we do get to that point past the AOL phase, and once we start stepping into that phase where everyone has a cell phone with internet connection, and then everyone has a cell phone that they can go to all kinds of different websites and you know, use apps, where we got apps in the future. That's kind of where crypto's going. If you don't see it, I'm trying to give you a heads up on, yeah, when crypto is quote unquote adopted, it's not just going to be I'm using Bitcoin to pay for my groceries. It's going to be a lot more than that. So that's just one example with Polygon. Polygon has a bunch more examples, and there's a lot of other stuff too. I mean, one of the things that I want to talk about in the future is with Step App. So Step App is a coin that I talked about in the past, and you know, I'll make another video about this. They did a partnership with Usain Bolt about a month ago, and this is just like the other STEPN, where you walk to earn. And you know, there's other stuff too. I'm running out of time in this video, but I wanted to talk more about Polygon and the future of crypto as an adopted world thing. So in addition to zero knowledge ID, you have games. So I think that, like, we had sort of in the bull run of this past couple years, you know, you had a couple of silly things that took over in the crypto space. You know, just like with AOL, you had a couple silly websites that were around that everybody knew about. And you know, your meme coins and a few other things that are just kind of testing out the waters. I do think that, and oh, of course, the big thing, NFTs, your JPEG NFTs. I do think that, gaming is going to be a big deal on the blockchain. Play to earn, idle games that are idle to earn, things like that. And you guys can look. This is something that they just talked about with Polygon. This is a sort of a play to earn game that they're developing. These games are in development, and they're gonna be more than what I've shown you in the past with things like EtherOrcs, where it's very, very simple, bare bones. Eventually, there's going to be a blockchain game that people love, like Fortnite or like Call of Duty. There will be one in the future. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that is, because I mean, there's no way I will know, but they're in the works, and it's going to work out. Like I'm telling you this, there's going to be some big stuff in the gaming world for crypto. Now, there is one more thing I wanted to talk about with Polygon ID before I moved on. Another kind of comparison you can make to this is sort of like your profile. So you have a Facebook profile, you might have an Xbox profile, you might have a profile in different places. So you can take that profile and use it in multiple different companies at the same time with Polygon ID. That's another big deal. Like, you don't have to fill out all these forms. You can just scan your QR code. It'll be so much faster than typing in all that information over and over and over again. So even that, it just simplifies things dramatically with something like Polygon ID. And if governments get involved in this too, I mean, like you can potentially put things like your social security number, and or you know, like if the United States really does say, well, we're going to be using digital IDs, your driver's license can be easily just on the click of a button on your phone with something like Polygon ID. That's a big deal. And signing into places will be way easier, and you'll have a digital on-chain identity. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit more of a positive outlook on the future of crypto. I'll be making more of these videos, of course. Follow me over there on Patreon to get access to these videos 2 to 3 days earlier than everyone else here on YouTube, and to be able to talk to me if you have any questions about any projects or coins or things that I'm in. Generally, I don't really look at the YouTube comment section, but I do look at all of my Patreon posts, whether you are a Patreon patron or just, you know, visiting. All right, guys, that is everything for today. I'll catch you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.